Sony Northrop made a claim in his recent video that iPhone 11 Pro can make cleaner image than Micro Four Thirds cameras. And I happen to have the iPhone 11 Pro and a Micro Four Thirds camera, so I will put them head to head. And I have my test crew out in the field. How is it there, Peter?
Oh yes, thanks Peter. Everything is ready for the test. I have the iPhone and I have the E-M5 MKIII. And you know, I came to your favorite park to do the testing. Back to you, Peter.
Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgard, an Olympus visionary and a professional photographer from Helsinki, Finland. And before we start talking about Apple's new phone, iPhone 11 Pro, and about Micro Four Thirds and about clean images, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that bell so you get notified when there is a new video online. Remember that my channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer and of course about Olympus gear. And I usually post 2 videos a week, and those 2 days are usually Tuesdays and Fridays. But let's start. Let's first look at the specs. Actually, iPhone 11 Pro has 4 cameras, 1 in the front and 2 in the back. And the specs of these cameras are: ultra-wide has 30mm f2.4 lens with 120-degree angle of view and a 12 megapixel sensor. The wide angle is a 26mm f1.8 lens with also a 12 megapixel sensor, but this sensor is new, so it's a bit different from the other 2 sensors. The third camera is a 52mm f2.0 lens and it also has a 12 megapixel sensor. You can also zoom, but let's ask Peter, our testing guy in the fields, how does it work?
Yes, you can either choose the different focal lengths by pressing the numbers on the screen, or you can get a wheel where you can turn the wheel and zoom in. And the zoom will go beyond 52mm, but then it will make the image quality worse because it's not any more optical zoom, it's more or less a digital zoom. Back to you, Peter.
It looks pretty handy. And because photography is a lot more than just a clean image, I will talk about other features of iPhone 11 Pro and versus the Micro Four Thirds camera, the Olympus E-M5 MKIII. So I took the newest Micro Four Thirds camera against the newest iPhone. And that's why I need to address some other things also than just a clean image. And the first thing is ergonomics. It's very important that the camera that you have feels good in your hand. It makes the whole difference how easy it is to use for photography. How are the knobs, how are these shutter buttons, how is everything? And let's ask Peter in the field, what do you think? How is it?
Yeah, I agree. This one is easy because the usability and the durability and the ergonomics of a proper camera is a lot better than a phone. It's a lot easier to hold in your hand, and the cameras are, I mean, the real cameras like the Olympus E-M5 is more customizable. You can customize it really well. Of course, you can customize your iPhone also with different apps, which makes it in that sense a bit better. But then, you know, a proper grip on your E-M5 MKIII is something totally different than you have with a phone. It's really awkward to make images with a phone. You have a proper shutter button on your E-M5 MKIII, and like any other proper or regular camera, and or what should I say, maybe not a regular, I think phones are regular cameras, but let's say the what do you call the traditional camera would be the proper word. And I think on this one it's not an issue. The traditional cameras crushes the phone cameras on this one. Back to the studio, to you, Peter.
And now a small commercial break. So don't go away, we will be right back. The biggest reason many of us uses iPhone or any other phone as a camera because the shareability of the images. And it's not only that it's easy to share, but many of us take the image so that we can share. So the sharing is the real thing. We like to document our lives, we like to document what we eat or what we wear, all that kind of thing, and people take selfies and stuff like that. Phones are great for that. But what do you think, Peter?
Peter?
Hey, wake up, Peter!
Oh, sorry about that. Your channel has so many good videos to watch, and I was watching the OE Share app, or the video about the OE Share app.
Yeah, I can understand. It's very interesting stuff there. But please, could you answer my question so we can get on with the video?
Images are so much easier to share from your phone. And that's the main reason that a lot of people make images in the first place. They want to share their feelings, where they are, what they've eaten and all of that kind of stuff. And I think it's great. And of course, that is something that the camera manufacturers should address a bit more. I know that Olympus cameras has a great way of sharing your images. The newest cameras have Bluetooth, so it's easy to share or actually transfer your images to your phone and then maybe edit them and then share them from there. But you need the phone to share. You cannot share straight from your camera. So in this one, I would say that the mobile phone is a lot better. Back to the studio. And when we talk about cameras, we talk about a whole camera system. So the third thing is, what about the whole system? iPhone 11 Pro has 4 cameras, so it can be called a system. But how does it compare to Micro Four Thirds as a system? What is your take on this one, Peter?
Yes, of course, the Olympus OMD M5 MKIII is a system camera. It has a whole system. You got flashes, you got all kinds of lenses, tons of lenses, and with the Micro Four Thirds mount, you can actually mount almost any lens that's ever made. So it's a very versatile system. So in that sense, it's not a no-brainer. And this one also goes to E-M5 MKIII, but we have to remember that with 3 lenses, actually 4, you have the front camera also on the newest iPhone, and like most cameras nowadays have at least 2 cameras, one in the back and one in the front. The iPhone 11 Pro has 3 lenses on the back and 1 in the front, so 4 cameras totally in one small package. So you could call that a system also, and you can attach lenses to your iPhone also. Don't you, Peter, have some extra lenses for your iPhone? Yes, I do. I have a Sandisk wide-angle lens which I made a video about. The problem is that I cannot attach it to this one properly. I don't have a case, a Sandisk case for this phone. So it's kind of useless right now. Oh yeah, but ain't that a bit strange? It's like having a same brand camera, but the next model has a different mount. So in that sense, ain't that kind of funny? Or is it? Well said, actually. But can we agree on this one that this one goes to Micro Four Thirds? It's a better system. Yeah, of course, you're the boss. But even though if you weren't, I would say that the Micro Four Thirds is a better system as the iPhone 11 Pro. But let's talk about the features. Both cameras have a ton and tons of features. The regular or the traditional camera comes with the features out of the box, and many of the features that you can get on these ones, you can get an app for it. So this one also has lots of good features. But what is your take on this, Peter? Yes, I agree. Both cameras have great features, and the ability to have apps and to have different kinds of cameras in your mobile device, I think that's one of the biggest advantages that mobile phones have over regular cameras or the traditional cameras. And that's something that I think traditional cameras should have, the ability to get apps for different special needs. And I think that's something that the camera manufacturers should think about. But especially I do like the portrait mode that the new iPhone has, or actually it's been in iPhones for quite some time now. And what it does is actually it makes a fake bokeh or depth of field. It makes a shallow depth of field. I know it's not real depth of field or real optical depth of field. It's more like a Gaussian blur. But for most, it looks really good, even though I think it's a bit embarrassing for Apple to say that it will, with all these different lighting things that they have, or the simulating different kinds of lights and different kinds of scenarios, what you can do in the studio, that it will replace a whole professional studio. And I think that's a bit embarrassing that Apple is saying that. And I'm not saying that the feature is bad, but it's not going to replace a whole studio, production studio for portraits. It's embarrassing, Apple, that you say that. Yeah, I totally agree about the studio thing. It's a bit embarrassing that Apple is saying that. And also what they have said, that is the blurred background that you can get with the portrait mode makes the image look like a professional image. What do you think about that, Peter? Good question, Peter. And I think also that professional photography is not defined by depth of field. It's defined by what kind of stories you can tell. And it's not about depth of field. And it's kind of embarrassing also if someone says that depth of field is the definition of a professional looking photograph. It's not. It's something else. It's, as I said, it's a story and the subject matter. That's the most important thing in photography, in my opinion. Yeah, I totally agree. But what about the image stabilizer?
Yeah, and that's one of the best features that I think the Olympus E-M5 MKIII has, because the stabilizer is one of the best in the market. And on this one, I think the traditional camera is a lot better. There are two things. First of all, the iPhone 11 Pro has 4 cameras, 3 in the back and 1 in the front, and only 2 of them have image stabilizer, and is not as good as the E-M5 MKIII has. And if we take the ergonomics and the way we can use cameras a lot steadier in our hand, this one goes to the traditional cameras by far. It's crushing it in that sense. So the OMD E-M5 MKIII is a lot better in that sense. But it's a good thing that the iPhone has image stabilizer. It helps a bit, but it's not as good as traditional cameras, as I've already said a couple of times. Back to you, Peter.
Thanks, Peter, for that. But what about the clean image?
And finally we get into this point. That was the whole idea of this video. But yeah, I was making images last night and looking through them at night while you were probably asleep, Peter.
Well, yes, I was. And I really appreciate your hard work, Peter. That's a good job. Thanks.
Thanks, Peter, for your appreciation. Here are the clips that I filmed last night when I was at my computer watching the images and comparing which one makes more clean image. Press play at the studio there, Peter.
It depends on a lot what app you're using when you're comparing the image quality. It's actually quite shocking how bad the image quality is with the iPhone 11 Pro with some app. Look at this picture that was taken with the Moment app. This is ISO 200. It's not very good, and I was surprised. But let's look at some images that I took with both of these cameras. And here are 2 images that I took this morning. It's a highway quite close where I live. And look at this. This is 800. This was taken with the Lightroom app. This is ISO 800. And the difference is totally clear. The iPhone 11 Pro has the so-called night mode. And when you use that, it actually stacks a lot of images. It takes in a big burst, quite a few images, and it stacks them. The exposure time is all the way up to 10 seconds. But the problem with that is that it makes some weird artifacts. That's what I found out. If you look at this image, both of these images are 1250 ISO, and you can clearly see that the noise level isn't really that big of a difference with the E-M5 MKIII. But if you see the compression of the image, it's totally ruined, in my opinion, the iPhone 11 Pro image. And I was a bit surprised. First, when I look at the images on the screen of the phone, they look stunning on the screen, but when you take them into your computer, then the quality isn't that good. You can really see the difference. And then there is also one thing about the night mode that needs to be mentioned. It only works with one lens. So if you use the ultra wide or the telephoto lens, it won't work. I don't think the image quality is near as good as it is with the E-M5 MKIII.
As you, Peter, see, and all the others who are watching this, I cannot confirm the claim that Tony Northrup made that iPhone 11 Pro can make a cleaner image than OMD E-M5 MKIII or the Micro Four Thirds system. Maybe in an older camera it can, but not the newest one. I think Tony Northrup is wrong. Peter, should I make my conclusion now, or do you want to say something?
By all means, continue with your conclusion.
Yeah, I will make my conclusion now, and you can do it after I've said what I have to say as a conclusion for this battle. The first thing is that I love mobile photography. I do a lot of mobile photography. It's great. Of course, when doing image sharing, I sometimes might even take, if I have my cameras with me, my traditional cameras, I still might take a photo with my mobile phone because it's so much easier to share. And what I especially like about mobile photography is the ability to use computational photography. As I already said, the fake depth of field is a great feature, I think. And then you have the apps, and you have so much interesting thing going on, and computational imaging is something that I'm really looking forward to it. I bet it will change photography in the future. What do you think, Peter?
I totally agree with you, Peter. I'm also in love with computational photography. And actually computational photography will be changing, or will change photography a lot in the future years, because I hope that camera manufacturers also, you know, start applying computational imaging a lot more than they have now. I think professional photography needs to be redefined because of this. And one more question, Peter. What are the videos that you will recommend people to watch next?
Oh, thanks for asking. I would say that definitely the OI Share app video, and then I'm going back home to binge watch all the videos about the E-M5 Mark III. I haven't seen them yet.
Thank you, Peter. And the rest of you, thanks for watching and bye for now. What do you think? How did Peter do in the fields? Should I hire him to do some more testing for me? Yeah, I know, it's a bit stupid, but I hope you enjoyed the video.